All right, well, something that has become common are big fancy Barcelona wins. They're in action on Sunday in La Liga, but they recently won their Champions League opener against Newcastle despite quite the atmosphere at St. James's Park. And after the game, Anthony Gordon had nothing but praise for their rivals on the night, saying the way they keep the ball was a learning experience. They were the best I've played against in that sense of the game. To be honest, we are not used to playing against players who can keep the ball in this way. We played against top teams like City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, but the way they passed the ball in midfield made it very hard for us to press. Well, Anthony Gordon wasn't the only one enjoying Barcelona's performance. Paul Scholes posted this on his Instagram, saying that Pedri is now his new favorite footballer. Stevie, that's some high praise.
Yeah, I can see it. And actually, when you watch Pedri playing, 100% reminds you of Paul Scholes. He does every single thing that Paul Scholes does. You know, he always sees everything early, so he never needs to take more than 2 touches. Generally, it's 1 touch. Ball's gone. You can't get close to him because he's just too quick. And then he pops up and scores goals. So, yeah, I mean, Paul Scholes is kind of looking in the mirror and sees Pedri.
Shaka?
Yeah, I'm with Stevie on this. Listen, I think Pedri at the heart of Barcelona's defence and their successes kind of reminds you of Barcelona at their best, so Sergio Busquets and how important he was. And I know Sergio Busquets isn't the one who's grabbing the headlines every single week, but that team does not function the way it did without a Sergio Busquets. And similarly, this version of Barcelona does not function the way it does without Pedri. Other people may grab the headlines, but it does not function the way without Pedri. So you completely understand it. And from Gordon's perspective, I sympathise. You're on the pitch, and at times when Barcelona are in this form, particularly the form we saw for most of the second half, you really are chasing shadows.
Yeah.
Just when you think you're getting close and you can put pressure on the ball, somebody pops it off, there's a 1-2, and you have no idea where you are in the park again. And that was the way Barcelona controlled the game, particularly in the second half. Now, maybe if Newcastle grabbed an early goal, we're having a different discussion, but they didn't, and Barcelona just took the game by the scruff of the neck. And truth be told, Newcastle did not have a way back into it.
Yeah, Frank, to Shaka's point, Newcastle did have some chances, but then you just saw Barcelona just really come into their own.
Yeah, it took some time for Barca to dominate the game because of course, of the pressure of St. James's Park, and that was absolutely fantastic to watch because with the fans and the players, the pressure from the Geordies was exactly what we were expecting. But little by little, you felt that Barcelona was coming over and imposed their strength and what they're capable of doing. And after, like, let's say, 30 minutes, you don't see the ball anymore. You run after it, you get crazy, you get out of breath, you can't even talk to each other, you don't know how to compensate, to cover each other. It's getting a nightmare. And talking about Pedri is just doing what is the most difficult things in the world, playing simple. That's what it is. That's what I was taught about football and from the best players. And Michel Platini was saying, you have to know where to give the ball before receiving it. And that's where you are special, because you create anticipation and the others, they cannot cope with that. When other players dribble, it's because most of the time they don't see, so they have to cope with the situation. Pedri dominates the situation. That's what makes him very special. He knows exactly what to do because he knows exactly what goes around him with the opponent, but his teammates. So he has the time for that, and that's the most difficult thing to do.
Stevie, you look at when Liverpool played Newcastle, and that atmosphere, Shaka and I, we were talking about this too, at St. James's Park, just felt like another level last night. Yeah. But for Barcelona to go in there, when you saw how Liverpool had their lives made difficult by Newcastle there, and then you just see Barcelona almost just sweep all of that aside and are able to do exactly what they do best.
Well, they did that in the end, but as Frank said, it's kind of how we figured it would be. The Newcastle fans and players, as soon as that whistle went, they would absolutely be getting after it, and they did. And they had a couple of chances where they could have and maybe should have scored. But then, you know, Barcelona physically won the battle eventually, And then once they get their noses ahead, then they start doing the old classic, let's make the ball do the work. We've done the physical side to get ourselves in a position where we're ahead. Now let's just keep the ball. Let's make them do all the work. And that's what they did. You know, you didn't see any Barcelona players running down, doing 40 and 50-yard sprints and closing people down and chasing and harrying and sweating and blowing and all kinds of... No, they were absolutely cool and calm, 1 and 2 touch, keep the ball moving, let the ball do the work. That's how you do it.
I'll be honest, with this tie, coming into this game, a lot of the focus, a lot of the discussion was reminiscing about Barcelona at St. James's Park back in '96 or whatever it was, and the Tino Asprilla hat-trick. I couldn't help but think about PSG coming to St. James's Park a couple of seasons ago, was it 2 or 3 seasons ago, and how that felt. And while it was a very different PSG from the one today, there was an excitement about St. James's Park. There was excitement about the Northeast. The difference on that day is, as I kind of alluded to, Almiron scored after 17 minutes. And that changed everything. It got the Geordies out of their seats and even louder, and it made for a different game. Now, had Newcastle taken one of those earlier chances, again, maybe we're having a very different conversation about the game. But once Rashford scores that header and makes it 1-0, now Newcastle had to lose their shape, had to gamble a whole lot more just to get back into the game. And that's just when Barcelona and Pedri are at their absolute best. Just control everything. You could press us all you want. You could harry. You can make this loud. You can make this emotional. We're quite used to it. We're just going to pass our way out of that emotion. And that's what they did. I think that, again, is the beauty of this version of Barcelona.
Well, Pedri definitely worked his magic, but let's be honest, the night really was about Marcus Rashford. It's his 2 goals that got Barcelona the win. And look at all of these comments for some of his teammates, former teammates, Jadon Sancho, Garnacho, Rasmus Højlund, Bruno Fernandes as well, just loving
There's
the
a bit of a
fact.
thread there, isn't there?
What?
There's a bit of a thread here.
What's it? Manchester United?
Every one of them's a rebel.
Except Bruno.
Except Bruno. He's a captain.
Bruno's
You're
not
right,
exactly.
but you're right.
Bruno's not exactly without any sort of blame for what's going on at United.
Oh boy, but
We have some resentful people, you know, among those people.
But Frank, if you're in a Manchester United shirt or a Manchester United supporter, and you know how desperate they are for goals these days, and you see Marcus Rashford doing this in another shirt, it burns, doesn't it?
So it's understandable that you can be resentful from the fans. The players, when they congratulate him, we know what they think. I'm very surprised about Bruno Fernandes. I mean, the guy is a captain of Manchester United, and he shouldn't have done that. I mean, big mistake from
You got 90% of the sour grapes gang there. That's what you got. 90%.
Just happy for him.
Oh, why?
Jadon Sancho's one of his closest friends.
They couldn't care less who Marcus Rashford was playing for, as long as he scores, so he can rub it in Man United's face.
Oh.
That's what that was all about.
Sure.
Well, Manchester United not Manchester United, Marcus Rashford actually said that he felt that his first goal was technically sweeter than the second one, and that second one was quite nice, at least to my basic eyes.
I'll be honest, I understand why he says that. That header was not an easy header. That was a courtesy drive. I was closer to than Hope was here in the studio. That point was in the studio. So I understand what Marcus Rashford is getting at, but as a fan, that second goal just doesn't come much better.
All right.
Are you kidding, Shaka? I've known you. Shaka, I've known you. You would have blocked the ball like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Shaka.
You have stopped the ball and blocked the ball.
If I was in row F, if I was in row F, I would have had a chance.